video we'll talk about this gem-mounted silver cup and cover. It's wonderful because if you play it, if you turn it round slightly sort of gently, you do see the light, and more specifically the candlelight at the time would have played into sort of all the different gems, the rubies, the emeralds, in quite a sort of a wonderful, wonderful magical way. What we can see here are sort of Roman profile heads of Augustus Caesar, and then you have the profile heads here as well of Julia, Agrippa, etc. on the top. And it's sort of a wonderful combination of going back in Renaissance Germany, of going back to Rome and classical times, and to find inspiration in that, and then to sort of make it a very contemporary object by sort of studying it with all these gems and turning it into quite a wacky and wild object. When we lift the cover, you can see here that originally there would have been an enameled coat of arms on the inside of this cover. What has happened to the enameling is that it has been taken off, and that is not unusual because families at the time, they would have owned this object for about maybe 40-50 years, and then when somebody else would have come on the scene and actually bought this object, they didn't particularly want the coat of arms of the previous owner on it, so often they did actually sort of get destroyed. What you also see here is this wonderful sort of display of the small bolts and screws that are holding basically the front and the top of the cover onto its base, and I think that's quite sort of an interesting feature. And then upon opening the cup, what we also see is some previous sales and previous collectors labels that are here on the inside. So in this particular case, it's the Bulgari collection in Rome. So when you look at these, always have a very good look sort of inside out. See if you can find traces, like for example the enameled coat of arms that has been destroyed, which is a very good sign, and which is all part of the actual life of the object, that combined with the labels of the previous collections here, like the Bulgari collection in Rome, sort of further enhances the credibility and probably the authenticity of the object. And then when we look at the base here of the actual cup, we can see the silver marks here, so the very clear silver marks. And you have the mark here, which is sort of a zigzag trail, which would have been used to test the actual silver. So once the object was made, somebody would have come around to actually test the level of silver that was used in the amalgamation to make the actual object. So a wonderful and fascinating object altogether, I think.